Hello, everybody. I have Robert with me today, and we're going to be talking about the next phase of business process management today. But before I dive into the questions that I've got for you, Robert, can you give everybody a quick introduction?
Sure. Hi, Emma. Thanks for the introduction. My name's Robert. I'm founder CEO of Firestart. We're an enterprise company in the area of business process management and automation. Very happy to be today with you in the call and looking forward to the discussion.
Great. Thank you so much for joining me. So, as I like to do with most of these interviews, I want to kind of start with a level setting question of looking at the idea of intelligent business process management and some of these terms that we use in the industry, like IBPM or iPaaS, for those integration tools. Can you start by just sharing kind of your definition of what these tools do for an organization to get us started?
Sure. So it's mostly like where you are in your journey in terms of process management and automation in general. So when you look at a traditional IBPM suites, it's like the core scope of how you align your internal processes within your company to get them to a cross-department, cross-application level in terms of design and management and analytics. Whereas like iPaaS solutions, integration platform as a service solutions, are kind of the next step when you then want to shift your process automation boundaries beyond your organizational constraints. And this is kind of where you are looking either to get your processes internally set up, or you're already looking on designing and automating your processes beyond of your organization. And of course, the I is always like for intelligent, and everybody wants to make things intelligent. Yeah, so nobody's looking for a dumb BPM solution. But intelligence, you should not always like associate that technologies bring all of the intelligence to the table, so you don't have to bring your own intelligence. Intelligence is always like a wide variety of factors that can be human intelligence, that can be historic intelligence, that can be forecasting models, that can be artificial intelligence. So when you're looking at making your processes intelligent, do not expect for the technology to make them intelligent, but the technology can enable multiple resources of intelligence to just like collaborate and work together along the process chain. And my recommendation, or what I very often see with clients, is that they very often try to jump from zero to super intelligent, fully automated processes with nothing in between. And the way how you should tackle process-related problems is like step by step, which also like go from zero to process, and then go from process to intelligent process, and then go from intelligent process to cross-organization processes. But do not try to jump like from zero to the last end, because it will just like overload you with all of the challenges that come along the way.
I like that you mentioned that not every solution is going to be all-knowing and intelligent without you coming to the table with that collaboration. We talk a lot about intelligent solutions at this point being a bit of an art and a bit of a science. And to me, the science is the tech, or the intelligence, both from the human and the technology, but the art is figuring out how to blend them together. And so I feel like that's a really important part to kind of help set the appropriate expectations for people as they're moving forward.
I think you should always compare it with human nature. Yes, in order for you to get more experienced and more talented, you just need time and experience, that you can build your intelligence on things and make more educated decisions in the future that you made with 20 years. Yeah, so, but the same applies for technology. No technology is intelligent by start or by default, but it also needs to kind of grow together, so that in over time things grow more smarter, more intelligent, more intuitive. But it's a development process, and you cannot cut it short in time very often. It needs time to develop, both on the human level and both on the technology level. And this should be the time that you should also plan when you're incorporating these kind of technologies in your organization.
Great. So as I want to focus in a little bit more on the idea of business process automation, and really looking at, from your viewpoint, why is BPM such a integral part of an organization's long-term digital transformation strategy?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, at the end of the day, every organization, every business is at the end of the day composition of business processes that you run, and the better you run them, the more successful you're going to probably be in your business. And that has been pretty much very often overseen with like the last technology hypes that you have seen in the past decade. Let's say there was like first like the ERP evolution, that you actually had a backbone systems to store and reuse corporate data, like financial processing. And then there was like this whole web shift where like web applications came in place. Then you had like the big mobile revolution where you just had to put a lot more form factor from desktop to mobile devices. And then there was like the cloud transition, which actually give you a lot more capabilities in thinking broader on reach of your processes and the scope of your processes. And now after that, we are in the automation, let's say, revolution, that actually with all of these mobile, cloud, ERP, backbone system factors coming together, and actually where it comes together is the business process. And this is like, it's not about the data, it's not about the applications, it's at the end of the day, the process is the crucial asset that defines the destiny of your organization, the success of your clients that you're serving with your products and services. But it's not like the technology or the data that is the relevant part. It's actually the process and the outcomes that you generate. And I think many people realize now, also post-pandemic, where many processes just like broke from one day to the next day, that rebuilding these processes and making this process first approach the most important factor is like what is leading companies into the future in how to do business in general. So this is not just like a communication or collaboration topic. It's really about a commercial business topic, how good and how integrated you can do business with other organizations.
So as we take a look at the next couple of years, can you share your thoughts on the importance of these integrated platforms, as well as the idea behind process orchestration, and why you think that will help organizations continue on this journey?
Yeah, so most of all, it's about speed, like the speed of delivery, the speed of ramping up processes, tearing down processes. Speed will be like a very defining factor, a lot more than it was in the past. And going forward, I think now we are at a stage where many companies are in a good development towards breaking down these typical IT business silos, breaking down these like application barriers that they tend to have. And this is like what comes with automation. This is what you see with robotic process automation being applied, process mining being applied, enterprise process architecture being applied. This is now kind of the status quo where many organizations are in the middle of the process. But the next big thing is like, okay, how can we move beyond not only our departural or application boundaries, but how can we break down our organizational boundaries? And this will essentially also create a whole new ecosystem of business processes that you're aligning, where it's important to have a high reuse on things, reuse on data, reuse on interactions, reuse on outcomes, and that the handover is just a lot smoother than it is today. Because today, when something as a result leaves my organization, it's still an email, it's still a file, it's still low-level process design and low-level communication that we're doing, but keep bringing that into a higher level, really business first, process first ecosystem, I think is the next big way in how to do business. Because once you are at the point where you can bring in reusability on processes, you just don't have to duplicate data. You just don't have to duplicate communication. And essentially, this is a very crucial factor when you want to bring in efficiencies. Because whenever you have to duplicate things, it just makes everything more complicated. And once you can reuse things, it's just a lot easier to build governance and protection and staging around it. And I think that's the crucial next step that many organizations need to do, moving their business process design forward to the next level in future collaboration.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me and share your thoughts on these questions and kind of the future of business process management and process orchestration. I want to encourage everyone who's watching to make sure that they hop over to Robert's LinkedIn, check him out, as well as the rest of the team at Firestart, and poke around on their website and learn a little bit more about what they're doing. But thank you so much for your time, Robert, and have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks, you too. Thanks for the invitation.
If you're looking for expert tips on how to get started with your transformation or looking to hone in on your approach, make sure that you subscribe to our channel to catch our weekly Digital Transformation Talk series, where we interview experts from around the world on how to make it happen.